Hello! Welcome to another fucking where the fuck did this come out of episode of the Trash Picture Show stream discussion, movie discussion. And today the movie we're going to be discussing is 1997's horror sci-fi from Peter Hames called The Relic that I think is incredibly underrated. It's based off the Lincoln Preston book and not super loosely based off. It does follow a lot of the beats. It is fairly kind of accurate to the first book. The other books go off the fucking reservation. I loved this movie growing up. It kicked ass in no small part thanks to the amazing visual effects by Stan Winston and the look and design of the Katoga creature. Just a heads up, we are going to be getting into spoilers and I'm going to be showing the creature later on. So if you haven't seen this movie, fuck off, go watch it, then come back, then watch our stream. But yeah,
Shameless
so
plug.
hey, JJ MPB, you got it on DVD. Yeah, we're going to be talking about transfers as well in the movie because, as Jen pointed out, there's a couple of issues with the picture quality, but there's an explanation for that as well. So, this movie came out in 1997, and the reason I kind of like this movie is I don't see movies like these being made theatrically anymore. Big budget creature features. I don't see them being the kind of push studios would with other stuff. It came out like 97 was the year of the creature feature. Let's list them off. So you've the big daddy of them all, which was the sequel to Jurassic Park, The Lost World Jurassic Park, which while not emulating the success of the first one, was still a fucking monster hit. Then you had Anaconda,
which was fun.
You also had Alien Resurrection, and then you had The Mimic, which a lot of people mix this one up with. And I can kind of see why. You can kind of see why as well, right, Jen?
Yeah, I can, because like you pointed, I didn't really think about it too much till we were watching the movie, and you pointed out there are a lot of similarities. They came out relatively close together. But this one is different. But I can understand why some people who might not be paying too much attention can kind of get these two confused, because there's some similarities. But this is an interesting movie because I had seen it before, but I didn't remember it. And I think I know why, but there are a lot of things that are really neat about this picture. I want to give it some praises before I get into my one issue, which is why I think I didn't remember the picture initially.
Yeah, the one of the big should we save the Achilles heel till later or should we get it out of the way?
I almost because this movie, I want to ask you something first. I think we'll get to the Achilles heel in a minute, but I do want to ask you something at first because I was doing a little bit of research and I believe it was Leonard Maltin, and I want to ask you who didn't give this a particularly high mark, but he said this is aliens in a museum. Would you say that basically he was implying this is a ripoff of Aliens just set in a different location? Would you agree? Because you're a huge Aliens fan.
The thing is though, right? Okay, so there are so many big budget kind of you look at it a particular way, right? Okay. Predator, the original Predator from 1987, that's a alien picking guys off one by one. Instead of in a spaceship, it's in a rainforest. Carpenter himself said, hey, DMC, Carpenter himself said Alien was a big influence on his version of the Thing from 82. Species, there are so many movies that essentially has scary monster picking people off in the dark.
There's no new ideas under the sun. You know,
there isn't. And like Alien itself is based on a 50s horror movie called Terror the Invader from Space or Mars. I'm not 100% sure. Dana Bannon basically took a lot of B movies to make that movie. So there isn't. I don't know, would you say that kind of in kind of imitation is the greatest form of flattery,
I
but
I don't see it as bad. I see that there's definitely some similarities between the two, but like I said, there's nothing new under the sun. I just wondered, and as an Alien fan, does it piss you off? Because this was a I remember he wasn't the only one who said that this is just a total knockoff of Aliens, bro. I've heard a lot of people say that. Does it offend? Does it? Because there are enough differences. I don't think
but
it's a ripoff.
if this is a knockoff, then isn't fucking the Mimic a knockoff from
Exactly.
the Del Toro's The Mimic? Isn't fucking Species? There's so many movies. Like the end of Species has characters kind of fumbling around in the dark with weapons and flashlights, hunting this fucking alien creature. It's kind of part and parcel for the genre because again, no matter how great, again, 90s movies, Stan Winston, fucking
Mhm.
absolute
Yeah, you
wizard.
his fingerprints are all over
Yeah,
this, you can tell.
ILM, fantastic digital fucking wizardry.
Mhm.
But for the time, you needed, and again, this is going to kind of bite this film in the dick. You need darkness as well to hide some of the shortcomings of the effects. And this movie doesn't have any, but it is essential because you don't want to kind of overexpose your creature or you don't want to overexpose your digital effect, like, you know.
You make a very good point, but I guess this is where you warn people for spoiler. This really isn't a spoiler, but this is my biggest massive problem with this movie. Why I think I didn't remember it, and I think it's a damn shame because I think I would really love this movie if I could see it. And I totally get what you mean. Sometimes it does do the film a really big favor because the darkness is really good when you get it with the creature feature scenes, but there are so many scenes in this movie where when we were watching it, I'm not gonna lie, I was straining. Just normal everyday scenes where they're in shadow, you can't see them, and it's a little frustrating. And I think that's this movie's biggest problem. I was straining to see certain scenes that I shouldn't have had to, and I'm not usually a nitpicky bitch, Marty. I swear to God, I'm
No,
not.
I know you're not.
But this
Um,
is one that if I notice it, it's not a good sign because I'm not
it's
generally nitpicky.
it's bad, but it's not AVPR fucking dark, where you
No,
need to turn the contrast right up. And like I Jen is right because
it took me
I
out of the movie a bit. I'm
yeah,
not gonna lie.
the fact is right. You had scenes with the creature that you needed the creature to keep hidden, but then there was scenes of dialogue and exposition with two characters in an office, and that was that was like fucking drenched in darkness. And you're like, this makes no fucking sense. Um, there's a couple of reasons for this. Peter Hames, he shoots his own movies.
Hmm.
He doesn't have a cameraman. He shoots them himself. And if I'm not mistaken, he likes to show kind of have stuff in darkness, kind of have shadow
Hmm.
as a big component of his movies. And as a result, the transfer to VHS, which was absolutely fucking dire, didn't work. So the transfer to home media apparently looked good in the cinema,
Yeah,
but when it released
lucky
home
enough to
media,
see this in the cinema, you had a really good experience. In fact, I think some people were really taken back who had gotten to see it at the cinema. And I didn't mean to cut you off, Marty, but and then they saw it on the VHS and stuff, and they're like, "Whoa!" It was very jarring.
it's a bit fucking disappointing though that some of the transfers because there is some really the location is fucking beautiful. The setup is beautiful. Jen even said that.
Hmm.
Like it's a museum is a really interesting setting, but sadly, it's hard to fucking see in some of the shots. But again, nowhere near like AVPR level of fucking darkness.
No,
Um,
but it does take me out of the movie a little bit, and I think that's why this movie didn't stick. And it's a shame because I am having a lot of, well, see, for my review of the actual movie, take away the darkness issues, this movie is a lot of fun. And some people might say it's a bit cheesy. I don't. It harkens back to those 90s movies, like you were saying earlier. They don't make them like these anymore. They just don't. And it kind of made me we were both kids when this movie came out, but it kind of made me very nostalgic. And I think it's such a damn shame. I really wish we could get it to where it was how we saw it in the theater, because I think people would really love this. I think this is kind of a hidden gem in the darkness. And I think if we
Yeah.
could get it, bring it to the light and seeing it cleaned up a bit, I think it'd be a really great movie. It is a great movie. It just needs a little light.
It's definitely better than some of the other movies that came out. Again, Anaconda was fun,
Hmm.
but it's just there
A
was
little too silly.
a little too silly. There was a speck more kind of, dare I say, legitimacy to this
Yes.
movie. This movie was trying to kind of do the whole science thing, and again, I suppose it had the advantage of being based off Preston's book, and yeah, it still is a creature feature, but it's a creature feature that kind of doesn't fucking kind of doesn't kind of be too juvenile about the topic, like, you know.
It treats its character development very, because again, creature features sort of have a formulaic usually kind of thing, and this does to a certain extent. But what it does with some of its characters, yes, some of it we've seen in other movies similar to this, but one of the things I like about it, our two main characters, our cop and our scientist and stuff, there's usually a love story in these, and you can tell that they're catching feelings. But one thing I like, and I didn't discuss this with you when we were watching the film, but one thing I like is they show it, but it's not overly
No, it's
done.
not
It's very
shoehorned. It's not pushed in your
restrained.
face.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's very restrained. And like the one scene, like I'm gonna be a total girl here, but I thought, God, that is a really neat scene, because we have a scene where he's talking about a lucky bullet, because they're talking about superstition stuff, and the cop is somewhat superstitious, and of course the scientist, she's scientific, science is always going to explain everything,
Mhm.
and he tells her a story about how he should be dead and why this bullet is lucky. And then at the end, when they're getting in a lot of trouble, he hands her the bullet for safety. And I thought, God, that is really sweet. And we don't like ham it up. It's just a quick scene. But I'm like, that scene says so much, where other movies, like something like Lake Placid, where they really force it down your throat, this is done in with a little
No,
bit of
there's
nuance.
no saccharine syrupy kind of shite with this. It's just
Yeah.
it's the Gusto's like, look, I don't want you to die. I kind of like you. You're a
Yeah.
pain in my ass. So here's my lucky fucking bullet.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, that's a cool fucking scene. It's a good
I
scene.
it is, and there's a lot of scenes like this, and it's also one thing I like, and this is harkens to this time of period of movies. But one thing I appreciate is the humor. The humor, it doesn't use it as much as some of the other films I've mentioned, but occasionally there is little pockets of humor that make it, again, give it a real fun factor and make it a popcorn flick. And when I say a popcorn flick, I'm not meaning it in a bad way, just really
No,
enjoyable.
it's fun because like the whole way through the movie, all this horrific shit's going there. There's moments where Degusta is just like fucking, just standing thinking about something, and you kind of get feeling he's not thinking. He's just gone through a messy divorce, so he's not thinking about the case. He's thinking about how can I get my fucking dog back off my bitch of an ex-wife. That's
I like at the beginning how when his other cop friends are like, well, did she get custody of Jerry? And the audience, of course, assumes Jerry must be his son, and then he's like, no, it's his dog, and that is really funny, and it subverts your This movie, that's a good way to phrase this. In some ways, even though it's somewhat very standard and by the book, there are places where it really, subverts your expectations, and it makes it fun. It makes it stand out from the rest of the pack. Like, sure, it takes nods from certain movies and stuff, but it also kind of stands out on its own. And the characters and the actors in this, Tom Sizemore gives a really good performance. And like you said, he usually plays a bad guy. It's kind of fun to see him in something where he's kind of the hero for once.
yeah. It's cool, and again, he does the whole fucking gritty fucking city cop thing really well.
He
Like
does.
he could do it in his sleep. He's just like fucking. He's like, okay, what do we got here? Oh shit! And like his partner, who's like this kind of wet behind the ears guy, is trying to fucking impress him and stuff. He goes, oh, I got something to show you in the front of the boat. It's a ship, and the pointy end, it's called the bow. And I like that. It's like he's like, he doesn't fuck around. And the wet behind the ears goes, ah shit. And as Jen said before, what's up? He lost Jerry in the custody battle, didn't he? And he's like, oh, that's his kid. No, it's his dog. And it's just you like him right away that the dude likes dogs and shit. It's just He's just got the weight of his world. He's already got the weight of the world on his shoulders because the bitch of an ex-wife took the dog, and now he's got a ship full of dead motherfuckers.
I don't need this right now. And then he gets more. And another one, Penelope Ann Miller really does a great performance too. And I like that she kind of like there's a scene between them and stuff. And he's like, I'm not asking you out on a date because she's like, I'm too busy right now to talk. You need to talk to this guy if you want to find out and stuff. And I like the way like they have a really fun back and forth dynamic. He's like, I'm not asking you out on a date, but you can still again it kind of with that in a lesser movie sense they just make them do puppy dog guys. This kind of establishes they like each other, but they're not going to make it a big thing.
No, there's a bit of friction there as well, where she's like, "Can I see what was in the crate?" And she goes, "Okay, it was an artifact." And he's like, "Oh yeah, an artifact. I'll see you later. You're welcome." It's
Yeah, it's cute.
like,
But they're not obnoxious about it. Sometimes I think movies like, especially in this time period, get it where they hate each other right away. It's not adversary, but there's a little bit, but it's just the right amount. There's a lot of fun to this, and I just like her character, and I also like the fact, and this is such a '90s thing. I mentioned it to you when we were watching it, where he expects a Dr. Green. He's immediately thinking, a scientist. It's got to be a dude, and I'm like, oh,
dude in
90s.
tweed. Some stuffy dude in fucking tweed. Only other notable the other actors are good, but the only one of real note is Linda Hunt, who plays the museum director. I'm not trying to be a dick. Everyone else in this movie is cannon fodder. I think.
I think so. I would say, and I don't know the actor's name, but her adversary that's trying to get the grant from him. He does steal a couple of scenes later on in the movie.
Greg Lee.
Yes.
Lee, that's the character.
And he is there mostly for comic relief. He really is. He's just, the smarmy backstabber with the one-liners, but he's fun and he doesn't have a ton of screen time, but there is a couple of scenes where like even when the shit is going down, he's still he's talking about his scientist and all of his work and stuff. And these people are like, it's a life and death situation.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Seriously, stuff tick shit fucking hits the fan. And the groups have to split in half. And he's like, there's these two kind of well-to-do people who are coming to visit the museum. He's like, I'll stay behind with them. I'll stay behind to protect them. And he's just there fucking talking on and on and on. And there's people dead, and there's fucking cops trying to weld through the door. And it's
water's coming down. It's cold.
I think Peter Hames actually, as a result of shooting that scene, he ended up getting the flu twice, and it shut down production.
I can believe that. Well, it does, like when we're watching it, like you can feel how cold it is, and you can see people's breaths and stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised. It committed to your art, but goddamn,
Oh, go on.
Oh, I just was going to say, I also really like when everyone is panicking and trying to get out of the museum. There's a scene with a woman, dressed to the nines, and she's pressed up against a glass. And it kind of, I take it that she gets her neck broken because of the way, her body contorts and stuff and blood. And even though you can't see a lot in this movie, that one is shot really well. It's weird. This movie is kind of schizophrenic because there are some shots when you can see the film. It looks fantastic. It's just a good part of it. You can't, and I don't mean to keep harping on it, but this is like my big issue, and I think a lot of other people have this issue. But when it is shot well, it is gorgeous to look at.
I think Hames was clever enough to know, okay, there's gore coming up. I need to fucking put the camera right here and make sure people can see the blood, guts, and decapitated bodies and stuff. Will we give a quick rundown to the plot?
That probably would help for people who haven't.
They're like, what the fuck are they on about? So the movie starts off with another member of the museum, a anthropologist called John Whitney, and he's studying a tribe, and he's given this kind of substance that's scraped off leaves, and he drinks it, and he starts tripping balls.
That's a good way to put it.
He's like, oh, fuck. He's like, God, the Katoga. And he's like running to the ship, and he's looking for the fucking, for the crates that contain the kind of relics and stuff. And he sneaks on board, but it turns out the other relics and the leaves were put on another ship. So it cuts to 6 weeks later, and that's when we're introduced to D'Agusta, and he's kind of wet behind the ears partner, who is another kind of character who's got a bit of fucking McNally. I think that's him.
Yeah.
He's the other kind of dude who's detective, and he oh no, wait, I tell you right, Hollinsworth.
Hollinsworth, right.
Okay, Sergeant Hollinsworth. He meets Augusta, and they have the back and forth about the dog and the divorce, and he takes him down to the ship, and obviously, again, someone really did like Alien because there's a cat scare. I mean, do we get cat scares anymore?
I can't. In horror movies, occasionally jump scare. Christian dubs them as jump scare cats, but they're more in the horror vein. I don't know if they are in so much the sci-fi vein, but definitely they
No,
still
no, there
are
was
in
a
the horror
time.
vein.
Hey, Creepy McGee.
Hey,
But there was a time you couldn't go watch a movie without some fucking cat jumping out of somewhere.
the jump scare cat. That's what Christian always dubs them.
Jumpy the jump scares cat. Anyway, right? So fucking D'Agusta and Hollinsworth, they find a bunch of corpses in the fucking the lower deck of the ship.
Mm.
And they're like, what the fuck happened here? And oh, it must be a drug deal gone bad, coming from South America. So cut to the museum, and Margot, we were introduced to Margot, and she is informed by Linda Hunt that Dr. Lee is trying to steal her grant, so she gives him a fucking bollocking. And there's kind of neat back and forth. What did you think of the kind of the back and forth between those two characters?
I really liked it, and again, I liked they kind of this was something they were really trying to do in the '90s, showing girl power. But they do it right with this one because she's assertive. She's not a bitch, but she's no nonsense, and she's assertive. And one thing I liked about that scene is she kind of calls them out, and she has other people on her team, and she's like, "If we don't get this grant, dude, they're out of a job and stuff like that." And then what does she call him? Because you and me, she calls him.
Oh yeah, she calls him a gerbil.
Calls him a gerbil. And you and I were like, I didn't get it, and I don't know if you did
looks
either.
kind of gerbily, but would that be racist because he's Asian?
I would call him a rat or something. That seems to be a little bit more, but But then I guess we could look at it as she's not someone who calls, so like not someone who's used to doing that. So someone who doesn't do that, they don't have the best comebacks and stuff. Maybe it was that best insults. Maybe it was that she just wasn't used to it.
I just thought it was kind of like, okay, she doesn't fucking take shit from people. I like that. And then we're introduced to Dr. Frock, who's kind of her friend and mentor, played by James Whitmore. James Whitmore to me looks like fucking Lloyd Bridges discount edition. I don't know. What did you think?
I like him. I never can remember his name, but I always like him. His voice is very like, you hear that voice once and you'll
he make you'd believe this guy could be in a museum because he's got like
he has
Discovery Channel. He's got a Discovery Channel kind of voice.
He does. He has kind of a very sophisticated way about him, and his voice is very, cultured. And like you said, someone you could believe is working here. I never remember his name, but I always know who it is. And he's just a really great character actor. And I also really like the relationship he has with Penelope and Miller. It's almost like a father-daughter. It's not, but it's almost like a father-daughter.
Yeah, there is kind of a maternal connection there.
Yeah.
And he is recently gotten the consignment of Whitney's stuff that made it onto another ship. And Margot's like, oh, fucking, why are we doing this guy's bullshit? It's all about superstition. And Linda Hunt's like, well, that's going to be the theme for tomorrow's gala. And
money!
what was the line Margot had again? That's like saying having topless women in the Bolshoi ballet, and Dr. Frock's like, I would go see the ballet more. Yeah, it's I like that. Again, there's a nice playfulness between the two.
There
And
is, and the pockets of humor are very. They always, when it works, and this definitely works. But it doesn't over. The one thing about some of these movies from this time period is some of them really, go a little too heavy-handed on the humor. This just sprinkles it in. It gives it a nice little touch.
and again, there's a nice relationship between the two, because when Margot sneaks it, she's snooping in his office, and fucking Linda Hunt's like, Margot, what are you doing? And Dr. Frog's like, oh, I asked Margot to join us. And when Linda Hunt's looking away, he starts winking at her. And then when they leave, Linda Hunt's like, oh, that stuff is biologically dangerous. You better
Incinerated.
destroy it. And Margot's like looking at the leaf, and all you hear is Dr. Frog go, of course you can, Margot. And she just takes it. And again, I like that. I like that moment. That was like, which it helps later on, because you kind of are a bit bummed out with what
Hmm.
happened. Again, I feel bad for using the term cannon fodder, because there are some great actors in here, but they're not given as much development as Augusta and Margot. I don't
He's
think.
definitely there for a reason, and it is to catch kind of the feels, but to the movie's credit, it handles it very well. And it's a very sweet relationship. It's not forced. You can tell that these two really do care about each other. And again, I got like a very father-daughter type of relationship. You could almost have a backstory. Maybe she didn't have the greatest father, and this is kind of a surrogate father to her.
That's Jen's headcanon, right? So Jen's going to do a follow up to Lincoln Preston's book, where Doc.
I always do this with movies I like. I see, and I don't want to come across to you or to anyone else. I do really enjoy this film. I think it's a lot of fun. It's a fun time. It's a creature feature. It's a higher end popcorn movie. And again, I don't mean that in a bad way, but it is. It's just a damn shame you can't see some of it, because I just straining on some scenes.
Do you think if someone went into this, um, without being told what it was, do you think they'd be like, "Oh, this is a really good mystery," and halfway through, you have some big fucking dinosaur-looking monster? You're like, "Okay." Do you think that might affect? Like, do you think that might have been an issue with this movie as well? People were going in thinking it was fucking Seven, or fucking, I don't know.
Yeah, I
Or
don't think.
or do you think from the jump people would realize there's a monster doing this, not fucking.
I think a monster. I think they might have sold it. Maybe a few people do, but if you're paying attention, if you have a little bit of movie literacy, I think you can kind of get the feel that this is a creature feature. It has that feel, like you said. Stan Winston does all the special effects, and God, they're gorgeous, as all of his stuff is. And they just have a certain feel that you're walking into this. But I can see. I think I remember they kind of did mismarket it in a little bit way, and some people were confused. I do remember, if I remember right, it was
Like,
a
is
long
it okay?
time ago.
You go see this in the cinema in 1997. You're sitting down with your popcorn. Are like, oh, this is really good. I wonder who the fucking killer is. Is it Whitney? Is it the Chinese guy? Is it
Is
fucking
it
just.
Colonel Mustard with the candlestick?
Yeah. It's you're thinking that next thing out of left field, this big fucking cockroach, chameleon, dinosaur, predator, fucking thing is like, fuck y'all. I'm the killer.
But I mean, he looks so good to me. He looked kind of like a boar, like an old,
Yeah,
kind of.
yeah. The tusks. He
Yeah,
did. He looked
and
like.
the tail with the rat. But it's an interesting design. You hadn't ever seen. That's one thing. Like, for people who detract this movie, you've never seen this kind of design before, or
I'm
at least I haven't.
I'm going to go into the design later on, but I want people to think. I want to know, what did people think if they went in not realizing. Do you think it was? Do you think there was a possibility that people went in not realizing there was going to be a big fucking monster in this, and thought it was going to be like a thriller?
I remember. Now, I could be misremembering, but I remembered that was part of the thing. Like, people went in thinking it was going to be one thing, and then it turned out to be another. And I think some people were a little bit pissed about it, and stuff. I don't know how you could do that, because if you're paying attention to the movie, it definitely has a feel. But if I remember correctly, there was some hubbub with, like, the marketing. Sometimes people don't know how to market their own shit, and I think the marketing was an issue with this movie. They didn't exactly know how to market it. And like you said, there were so many movies kind of this similar vein coming out. Maybe they wanted to stand out different from the pack, so they
Yeah,
kind of tweaked the marketing a bit.
yeah. Like, no director worth their salt wants to like fucking reveal the magic trick of their creature
Mm-mm.
in the marketing and stuff. So it
No,
could have been, they could have like I've seen some of the trailers. Some of the trailers do show the creature, some of them don't.
don't.
So it's a toss up.
Did you
So
know going in when you were a kid, when you first watched it, did you know what it was going in or had an idea?
um I don't know. Again, this was the region 2 VHS, and it had the image there on the screen, but it also had a slogan that said, "Oh, it's aliens meets Jurassic Park." I'm like,
That
"Oh
would have
fuck."
been right up your
Oh
alley.
yeah, I am fucking sold. Like, I've I've watched I've watched a lot of shit that put that pitch as well. It's aliens meets Jurassic Park. It's Jurassic Park meets Predator. It's Terminator meets Predator.
Hi, Scott. Yes, the interesting thing about this movie is it really did get mixed reviews. Like Scott said, Siskel and Ebert actually, surprisingly, they said it was a lot of fun. You're going to enjoy it, especially if you like the creature feature aspect. And then there was the Leonard Maltin, like I said it was just aliens in a museum. It was a very mixed bag critically.
Yeah, again, like this movie is a lot more clever than it has any right to be. But
Yes.
I'm gonna bring out a quote I always said. We're not talking about fucking. We're not talking about Lawrence of Arabia or Gone with the Wind here, people. Okay, okay.
Well, there is no racism that I know. What? There is no racism.
Look, yeah, I just.
Marty, one of these days we got to tackle Gone with the Wind. You know what a massive fan I am. Oh, I love the look of deer in headlights on your face.
Yeah, okay, okay. Well, honest to God, uh, we'll get to that. Oh my God, talking about that movie is going to be like navigating a minefield in the fucking dark.
Especially with me.
Oh God. Um, Mister. Oh, that's who the coroner was.
Yep.
Did you know that, Jen?
I didn't, but now that Scott says it, it clicks in my mind. But no, I didn't. I'm not going to pretend I didn't know that till Scott said. Thank you, Scott.
So, well, we focus on the museum. Margot's trying to get her grant. She finds Whitney's kind of stuff and starts scanning the leaves. She's going home for the night, and one of the security guards is going to smoke some of that sweet Mary Jane in the toilet, and his head ends up getting mysteriously removed from the fucking rest of him.
Mm-hmm.
We also have things that goes nowhere with two kids getting lost. Again, this is what probably fucked people up because had the mimic had two kids who were fucking kind of playing truant from school, and this movie had two kids playing truant from school. This movie, the kids survive. I think they end up finding one half of their man, and Degusta turns up, and he's essentially like, "Oh, what's going on here? We got another decapitated body." I want to talk to the last person who was here, and it's like, "Oh, that was Dr. Green." And as Jen said, Degusta's like, it's some fucking dude with a mustache and a pipe and a tweed fucking suit. And he gets kind of a surprise. She's like, "You're Dr. Green?" And one thing I think is hilarious, right, is that they've obviously, I don't know, would this be the case, but they're still letting people into the fucking museum. I know it's staff.
I suppose it's staff. It's one thing. It is a little. There's a couple times where you kind of, but then again, like you said, this isn't this kind of a movie, so I'm not going to be super nitpicky about it. But yeah, you do kind of question it. But there's a couple things you question about this movie, but then you go, "Fuck it, it's fun. Let's just go with it." That's how I look at it.
The Degusta and the other guy go in and they're examining the crime scene. All of a sudden, Margot fucking storms in. She's like, "Jesus fucking Christ!" Because in fairness, your man's body is contorted, torn off, and the fucking head's halfway across the fucking bathroom with like a fucking hole in it. And the cool thing is, you can tell, like the Katoga fucking had to do a really fucking ramshackle job because there's part of the
Ragged.
fucking shoulder blade, it's just really ragged and fucking. But I'm like, Jesus Christ, how did you let someone, a civilian, into the fucking crime scene? And Margot's shitting herself. And I love Tom Sizemore's face. Will someone get this fucking woman out of here? I was like, because that's the best fucking acting. I seen Tom Sizemore in Tarantino flicks. I seen him in Heat. That's the best fucking get this. Just he looks so fucking just irritated because he's annoyed about this murder. He's annoyed about this woman. But at the back of the head, he's thinking, my fucking dog's still with that bitch of an ex-wife.
I don't need this shit. And as a horror fan, I love that scene because, again, it's shot so gorgeously. You got Stan Winston. And my favorite part is seeing the brain,
Yeah.
out on the floor. That is really cool. And even in some horror movies, you didn't get that much blood and guts, literally, and the organs. And I really enjoyed it. And that's a scene, luckily, you can see really well. It's really well lit, so you can really see it. And I, as a horror fan, I'm always here for that kind of stuff.
As I said, I think Hames knew that, like, as well as the creature, the gore was going to be the big
The
selling
highlight.
factor for this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Linda Hunt goes to the Augusta. She's like, can you kind of solve this murder by tomorrow night? And he's like, I'll see what I can do. It's like, and in fairness, Linda Hunt isn't a cunt about it. She isn't.
No,
Most of her
but she
characters,
has to keep her museum running, and this is how she's
yeah,
going to do it. It's money.
like she says, she's even like, she seems super sympathetic. Oh, he was a lovely guy, and I do understand it's a tragic thing, but we have a gala tomorrow and we need them. Like, she's not the mayor from Jaws bad. But
No, she's more just pragmatic. Like, okay, this really sucks and I feel bad, but I've got a museum that we're just holding together with, gum and toothpaper. So, that kind of thing. It's a flypaper. We're just kind of holding together. And so we need that money. And I like her character because, again, they could have made her a bastard, but like you pointed out, she's not really a bastard. She's just pragmatic.
yeah, and they do something clever as well to kind of solidify that she's not like a cold heartless bitch, because she's the one that informs Margot that Dr. Lee is going after the grant, and like that gives her brownie points. So the Gusta goes off to the coroner, that's Mrs. Roper from Three's Company apparently, and yeah, she's explaining to him about the hypothalamus and how, yes, even for a man's brain, this is exceptionally nice. I like that. I like that line. And like Degusta's like, the fucking hypothalamus. What's the deal with that? And she's like, I don't fucking
You're
know.
missing it. You're missing it, dude.
It's not that I didn't write this fucking monster movie.
Oh, Scott's right. And She-Devil. She was in I forgot she was
in Silverado.
And Silverado, that's right.
Wasn't Linda Hunt in Silverado? Or is he talking about Linda Hunt?
Yeah, he's talking about Linda Hunt.
Oh, I thought he was talking about Mrs. Roper.
No. And Scott brought up that she was also in She-Devil, which is with Meryl Streep and Roseanne Barr, which is a movie we need to cover one day.
And fun fact, this is her second pairing. She had 3 altogether with Penelope Ann Miller. Kindergarten Cop.
Yes.
She's in Kindergarten Cop with Penelope Ann Miller as well, right? She was the teacher. No, I know Linda Hunt was the principal, but Penelope Ann Miller was the teacher that Arnie fell in love with.
Mm-hmm. She was, and they really are good. That's one thing about this whole cast, really works well together.
I did like the scene. I'm deviating here, apologies, but you know what? It's my fucking stream, so I can. That bit where like Arnie punches the guy who's like abusing his wife and kid, and Linda Hunt brings him into the back and goes, you punched a man in front of a bunch of kindergartners. I know, I'm sorry. I want to ask you one thing. What did it feel like to hit that son of a bitch? It's a cute moment. I know it has nothing to do with this movie, but I just wanted to bro how good she is. And like when Arnie leaves, she's like, pow.
Well, that's one thing with with that actress. Like, she has a certain look about her, so you think she's going to be this very, by the. She has that kind of look, like she's a by the book kind of gal and stuff. And a lot of movies, the smart movies that she's in, always kind of, deviate from that expectation a little bit. And it's a really fun thing to do when you've got an actress like that, because she has a certain look that you would totally take her as someone who would be like that. And the same with this movie. She's she's not a bastard, but
Yeah,
she's got to run the museum. I
yeah,
like that.
yeah. She's as you said, she's pragmatic. So um, the mystery seems to be getting ever more and more fucking complicated, and Augusta's trying to suss out what's going on. So he gets the cops to sweep the building, and they end up having an encounter with Rob Zombie's Michael Myers in the basement.
You're not wrong. I would get angry, but I
From
can't.
sorry, Jen, I should specify. Rob Zombie's Michael Myers from Halloween Part 2.
Hobo
No!
Myers. Hobo
Die!
Myers.
Die!
Hobo Myers.
But yeah, essentially the cops are sweeping the building, and they find this homeless guy comes at him with an axe, and
Case closed. That's who did it.
that's it. The thing is as well, they find a medallion belonged to one of the guys from the ship. So obviously the homeless guy had fucking been around there as well. And the head of security, who's a real fucking prick. I genuinely thought that was Tom Towles. Fucking find out that actor's name. But he's like, "Oh, the Augusta, we can open." And it's like, yeah, this doesn't mean shit. And of course, your man becomes a prick and calls the actual mayor. And the mayor's like, "Oh, D'Augusta, hey,
You
my
did a
wife,
great job.
good job, great job." Kind of like an underhanded compliment threat kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. Yeah, great job solving the mystery. The gala can go ahead. My wife's friends can come out. My wife can wear the dress that
With the
really shows off her
cleavage.
cleavage. You seen my wife's cleavage, Augusta? No, I haven't, sir. It's fantastic. And I kind of like the mayor. I don't know who played the mayor. I was like, is that Robert Foster? Is that Robert Foster? And Jen's like, no, dear, it's not Robert Foster. Your Alzheimer's is kicking in again. And I'm like, God damn Alzheimer's.
I like the mayor too, and it is very much. And I love the line about, "I hope one day you're on the phone with somebody and you're like, yeah, we're going to this fancy thing. Jen's got a dress, and the cleavage is going to be awesome. I hope one day you're talking to somebody on the phone with my cleavage."
Hey, if we're going to that function, if there isn't a rock of lamb, there'll be a rock of Jed's tits. Yeah.
No, you're on the phone with a friend, and like, it's our anniversary. I'm going to spoil her. I'm taking her to Denny's, so she's going to get all dolled up.
We're gonna, no, babe, IHOP. I'm taking you to IHOP.
I'm not with Denny's.
Do you want Sonic? I'll fucking flash out. We'll go to Sonic. No, do you know what, babe? You're worth every fucking penny. Olive Garden.
Oh, fancy!
Yeah, I hear you can get discount fucking booklets.
And all you can eat bread.
Mmm. Sir, please stop eating our breadsticks. You said it was all you could eat.
Your partner is filling her bag with all the breadsticks, sir.
We're going to be eating it at home, but sir, all you could eat.
Jen, the dressing's kind of coming through the purse. We'll Febreze it, darling. It'll be fine.
Oh. Anywho, so basically, Augusta's strong armed into reopening the museum, which he's still not 100% about. So he's like, "Look, we're gonna fucking sweep this place. I'm gonna go into the tunnels below, and I'm gonna make sure there's nothing going on." Meanwhile, Margot is putting the leaves into kind of a storage container, and one of the beetles that there's a lot of setup as well. There's a lot of small things that are set up that have a payoff. For example, there's a machine they use that strips the bone off skeletons in the museum, and they use I don't know, is it beetles? Yeah,
Yeah,
beetles.
Beatles.
And one of the beetles gets into the leaves, and Margot puts it into the container. And later on, when she opens the container, this giant fucking armor plated exoskeleton beetle comes out, and she's like, "Fuck that!" and just
Smash.
smashes the fucker.
And
And
the goo is so good with that.
you need gooey. I know the computer kid. Yes. Okay, it is 1997, but still, you could you could be working with something a bit better than that. That's all I'm gonna say. Um, so the Gusta and his crew are gone down into the sewer, underneath the museum, or the tunnels underneath the museum, and the gala's kicked off. And our two kind of other characters we liked were these two kind of they, they were like the cops from Halloween 2018.
They really were, and I was thinking that too. And then Marty said it, and I was thinking it too, because they're talking about, when we're introduced to them, they're talking about food.
But coffee, particularly
Coffee.
coffee, because
Coffee,
they're
yeah.
like they're fucking they're like, oh Jesus Christ, oh, I like this type of coffee. You should go try here for coffee. And then at the gala, they're like, I don't like this coffee. It's too bitter. It's like,
And it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me in Halloween, and it doesn't bother. I don't know what's wrong with all you people. It does. I think it's funny and charming
I
from
suppose
both movies.
I get it. I know. Do you know what? You're right. It is a very natural thing for two guys to be talking about mundane shit. No, no, no. I'm not taking a piss. It's like, yeah, it's like, you're fucking, hey, what you have today? A cheese sandwich. Oh, what kind of bread? That's the kind of thing lads would talk about, like,
Uh-huh.
and it adds a level, and you kind of like these cops, and you feel bad because like, oh man, these guys are so fucking dead. And um so the gala kicks off. Everyone goes into the kind of superstition exhibit, which I
Mm-hmm.
really liked.
I do too.
Until I didn't notice until I rewatched it, because Margot's going into the exhibit earlier on, and she's walking under a bunch of ladders, and I always thought it was just the ladders were there. Um, the ladders were there as just for putting up the exhibit or putting up banners and stuff. But no, it's part of the exhibit,
A bit.
walking under ladders. And then there's a bunch of open umbrellas in the background and a
And a black
silhouette.
cat.
Yeah, and I was like, okay. I was like, God damn, Hames, Hames fucking, Hames kind of worked to make this the best looking and interesting movie he could. And it's just that attention to detail. It's like he could have said, "Oh, it's an exhibit on superstition and stuff," and just had it like that. But just the art design and the set design. Whoever done the fucking set design, you guys fucking kicked arse on
Yeah.
this movie.
And the museum looks amazing. Creepy McGee, little things kept making me think of Universal Monsters, the boat rolling in with everyone dead like Dracula, and the leaves kind of makes me think of the leaves in The Mummy. And
No,
JJMB
oh,
says Voyage of the Demeter, maybe.
yeah, 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 yeah. No, no, creepy McGee, you're probably dead right. Hames,
Yeah.
but again, it kind of it copying kind of certain things. I was going to say intimidation. Jen, help me out here.
No, I get what you mean. I
No, no,
think
no, no, no.
it's
The
not.
words, imitation. Sorry,
Imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
yeah, 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 and I think maybe Hames or whoever wrote the script was a big Universal fan. Exactly. That was very Voyage of the Demeter, where the crew were all slaughtered. But so they go into the superstition exhibit, and people are just like just looking around, and of course Dr. Lee is trying to fucking get the grant by being an annoying fuck, and the mayor's trying to be funny as well, because like Linda Hunt's like, oh, and here was the sacrificial chamber where they removed people's hearts, and goes, oh, I could use that down at City Hall or something like that. And Lee is like, ha ha ha, and Linda Hunt looks at him and says, you fucking brown nosed prick, you.
You get the feeling nobody likes him.
He, he's the Ted Cruz of this fucking movie, babe.
He has a little more personality than that. But yeah, you're right.
But so everyone's like, everyone is like enjoying the fucking exhibit. Meanwhile, down in the tunnels, they have a dog handler, and the dogs get loose, and the dude who's handling the dogs, he gets fucking eviscerated by the Katoga creature. The Katoga creature reveals itself, and Augusta's like, "Yeah, we're not equipped for this." And he tells Hollingsworth, "Get the fuck back to that museum and clear everyone the fuck out." So Hollingsworth pegs it back with a maintenance dude, and Augusta, who must have balls the size of a fucking truck, decides to go after your man. And Hollingsworth arrives back, waving a shotgun, going, "We're gonna die, we're gonna die." And the kind of head of the museum security is like, "What are you talking about, asshole?" And again, a bit kind of, well, how did he get from there to there? This corpse just fucking falls
Whee!
into the spear exhibit.
But it looks
And
cool, Marty. Like,
it
forget
looks
how it happens.
it looks cool. It's like you don't think you can fucking you don't think you can desecrate a decapitated corpse anymore until you see it land into a rake of spears. So everyone fucking shits the fucking bed and gets the fuck out of Dodge. Meanwhile, the two security guards, played by Richie April, the actor who plays Richie April, they're like, "Oh my god, something's happening, the security system's going off. We're getting a call from an earthquake. It's San Francisco. We don't have earthquakes," or some fucking.
Chicago, we
Yeah,
don't have,
Chicago.
yeah,
We don't
we don't
have
have
earthquakes.
earthquakes.
And Richie April goes to check the fucking jet. It's not Richie April, the character, guys. I can't remember the actor's name.
Richie Aprile from The Sopranos. He Janice's boyfriend. That if you haven't seen The Sopranos, I won't ruin it for you, but it's fun.
But it's not that character. It's just the actor. I can't think of what his fucking name is.
Another character actor that you'll know when you see him.
He goes out, checks the generator, comes back into the room and tells his friend, hey, what's going on? And the friend's head falls the fuck off. Now, that's pretty cool. It's awesome. How the fuck? This was a small security fucking office, okay, babe? This was fucking about the size of my fucking ensuite toilet. And Richie April walks in, fucking finds out his friend's decapitated, turns to the left, and there's the Takoga monster, Katoga monster, and it's like I still love the movie, but the room, it's like, how do you not see a big fucking how the fuck, babe? Okay, how the fuck? I love you, babe. Okay, but how the fuck do you not see this fucking thing inside a fucking a small fucking room? It's
He's so
like
cute.
it's kind of hard to fucking miss. It's like it's not it's not a fucking chestnut mouse. It's an abomination.
But you know, Marty, to play a devil's advocate, like you're in your head, you're at this big fancy gala, you're trying to do your job, right? And like I can understand if you have a lot on your mind. Maybe the cop isn't the only one going through a messy divorce. Maybe he was going through a messy divorce.
Okay, I'll give you that. And his friend's head just fell the fuck off. So yeah,
Scott says it looks cuddly.
Work away, Scott. Work away, Scott. That thing looks like it'd eat your fucking face like pizza.
See, I think it's kind of sweet too. I'm with Scott. I kind of like, there's some scenes where he's drooling and stuff, and I'm like, oh, poor thing. You know, he licks her, and I'm like, oh, poor. If he would have licked me, I would have been like, oh, you poor thing.
The Katoga monster is badass. You can't call it cuddly. So the security systems go off, and a bunch of people, including the mayor's affluent friends, Dr. Lee, Linda Hunt, Hollingsworth, the two coffee buddy cops, and the security guard, along with some other cannon fodder, get trapped inside in the fucking museum. And essentially Hollingsworth's like, I don't know what to do, so fucking Disgustus like, Eric, give the mayor the walkie-talkie. And he's like, Well, what is it, Augusta? What you want? You talked to me yesterday, remember? Listen, here's what you're gonna do. First off, you're gonna shut the fuck up. Secondly, you're gonna follow Hollingsworth out to the West End Passage, and it will bring you right in front of the museum. And the groups have to split off because one of the affluent kind of couples, the wife has a cane and she can't
Move
go
too
through the
well.
tunnels. So Dr. Lee, the brown nosing fucker, decides to stay with that couple, and one of the coffee cops stays with him as well, and uh, essentially the group split off. One,
I also like Sizemore saying when he's talking to the mayor, he's like, "You can fire me tomorrow, but right now," and that's actually like it's a cool line, but it's also very believable given the situation. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I, I like that line. I also like one thing we kind of jumped over, and I think it just again shows what a slimy thing Lee is. Like they're gonna lock up that part of the where the doctor is, where the scientist is, and the and her and everybody, and he says, "Oh no, I was just there. It's clear." He's telling the people that are going to
Oh
lock
yeah,
it
yeah.
up.
Because he wants that grant, and he knows if he can stop Margot from fucking approaching them, because the dude is just a you like, if you talk to him for more than 10 minutes, you're like, this guy's a fucking bollocks.
And I
Like,
also
kind of,
like how he's a little kid. He's like, "I'll stay with them. I'll protect
yeah,
them."
yeah, again, fucking bullshit. Like, I was like, fuck off.
You get the
But
feeling the couple are thinking, "Man, we just hope this monster comes because stealing with this asshole is way worse."
but so the group split off. Um, Margot, Dr. Frock, meet up with Augusta, who's managed to get out of the tunnels thanks to one of the German shepherds. And that fucking dog was a fantastic actor. The way it was like,
Yes. He just and stayed right there, and that I wonder what kind of how to shoot that scene, but yeah, the dog was fantastic. Now, and when Marty's not being funny, it really was a good scene.
yeah. I hope that someone wasn't like on the side. There better not have been some fucker on the side with like a fucking book or newspaper going, fucking
I
dog.
doubt it because at that time they did have like it wasn't like how they made a Cannibal Holocaust. I don't think it was like Cannibal
No,
Holocaust.
no. There was probably the RSPCA and stuff.
HPSC,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, on set. Um, but they meet up with Augusta, and they're like, "Oh fuck, we gotta find out what's going on here." And they inform they inform Augusta, "Oh, we sussed out something about those leaves. The creature needs to survive off hypothalamuses. Essentially, it was used by this lost tribe as kind of a weapon, a bio weapon. You'd give the leaves to the animal and mutate into this more formidable kind of hormone drenched form, and would kill the enemies of the tribe, and the tribe would come out of hiding once the creature ran out of hypothalamuses to eat." And Augusta's like, "That's great, but we can't really fucking wait for this thing to run out of brains to fucking eat." And yeah, so they try and formulate a plan by going back to Margot's offices. And poor Dr. Frock, I don't know, we neglected to mention this. He is paraplegic. He's in a
Hmm.
wheelchair, so
Yeah.
he can't go back up the stairs. So they lock him in a kind of caged area and go back to Margot's office. Meanwhile, the couple are still stuck with Lee and the head of security and the other cop, and the Katoga turns up, and it is fucking. This is when you really can see this fucking thing.
Start to
Um,
ramp up.
oh yeah, it grabs the head of the head of the security, the head of the head of security. He grabs him and fucking pincers. So you see how it fucking decapitates. It's got those fucking tusks there, and it just snips the fucking head off. Not very clean. It has to do a bit of pulling. And the other cop tries to kill it, and he gets lashed by the tail onto a glass exhibit. Dr. Lee fucks off and leaves the couple. You don't see the couple being killed, but you just assume.
In a way, it's kind of like the old trick of it going back to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Sometimes what you don't see is way worse than what you do see, and I thought that was a smart thing. Hello, Slipknot fan. They
Yeah,
love this movie.
yeah, the Katoga is fucking awesome. But anyway, yeah, fucking Lee tries to hide in the hall of mirrors, and he's like, I've outsmarted it. And he turns on his flashlight, he's like, oh, and it's a reflection of him, and he's like, whew. And then the fucking tin appears behind him, and you're like, yes, that fucking piece of shit.
Yay. And I like the look on his face, like, oh shit.
Yeah, you done. It was at that moment he realized he done fucked up.
Fucked up. And
And
there is such a thing as karma.
yeah, the other my other favorite scene is the scene following. Like you've got like fucking all the police, all the emergency services, and special forces, SWAT and stuff outside, and the kind of SWAT decides, yeah, you're dead right, Slipknot fan Stan Winston.
Mm-hmm.
You could never get a creature that good looking unless it was either Stan Winston, Rick Baker, or Rob Bottin. But where was I? Yeah, so my favorite scenes coming up. They decide to drop the kind of SWAT team in through the skylight, and the Katoga is like, "What the fuck is this?" Ah,
Dinner.
the delivery. They deliver takeout here. So
That's nice of him.
the first guy comes through on the fucking grappling rope, and the Katoga's like a fucking
Mm.
cat. It's like, wee! Just jumps across and just nips the guy off the fucking line. And then some other poor bastard sees this and he falls and he lands on his ass. And he's like, ah, fuck it. He tries to run. No, Katoga grabs him and snips him up. Meanwhile, there's what the last guy's like, pull me up, and we're pulling him up. And he nearly makes it. But the Katoga does a Spider-Man. Go on.
And I just love that, and I like the reveal because you think it's okay because they switch the point of view where you see the top half of his body and they pull him in, and then all of a sudden you just see Chomp where he went Chomp. Also, you're right, Stan Winston did do Pumpkinhead. That is,
Yeah.
I love that movie.
He directed that movie, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did. Again, the Katoga Beast is fucking awesome. I Randy Falk, anyone from NECA, if you're watching this video, make a fucking Katoga Beast. You will say, I guarantee you, if there's motherfuckers that haven't even seen the movie, they're like, what the fuck is that? What is that? I want that. Honest to God. I think Revell or Palisades done a model kit, but it's a static model kit. I want a figure that you can pose, you can move the legs, you can move the jaws. Again, doesn't have to be in scale to the 6-inch figures, because that would be fucking huge. That'd be huge. If you could get something that's even scaled down to maybe the size of the Kessler Wolf, that would be awesome. I'd love to have a fucking or some other Jeddah. Fuck a Jeddah. You give it a go. You're doing better than fucking NECA. Anyway,
Ted Lasso.
I love that scene. It's so cool, and it melds the digital effects so well with the practical effects. The cuts, it's in the cuts, because there's a scene where it's the Katoga on this kind of displays kind of stuff. That's another cool thing as well, because a lot of people are like, oh, how come people can't see the fucking Katoga when it's hiding? The museum is perfect because it's in among the exhibits. It's darkly lit and it's hidden among all these taxidermied animals like elephants and rhinos and lions and stuff. And that was perfect set. And you're like, that's a weird fucking giraffe, kind of fucking thing, you know. But what do you think? Do you think that was clever as well? That it was because it was because for the characters and the characters' headspace that you have kind of an area that has these exhibits with all these animal kind of corpses or taxidermy things. Like, just did you think that was a good idea, that's how it was able to hide?
Yeah, I did, like you said, that the museum is a perfect fodder for this creature, and it makes sense that it's there, and but there's so many neat hiding places, and the way they have it, just the way everything is this particular night, it does give a really, and and that's like how you do a good jump scare. Literally, that's because it comes out and and stuff. It's a really cool reveal and scene, and I like it. This is the scenes you can see, and again, I know I've been on this all through the review, but the scenes you can see are fabulous and breathtaking. It's just
Nobody tell Jen she needs glasses. Nobody should fucking kill us.
I don't fucking need glasses. I ain't old yet, darling.
I'll make you some Ovaltine and rub
Yeah,
your feet.
I think rain's coming. My hips hurt.
Oh,
Ow. But no, I do like, but like, you get what I'm saying. Like, it does kind of, I think I can't be the only person that has issues with this movie, because I'm not talking about the scenes where it's supposed to be in shadows. I appreciate that, but there is a lot of scenes where I just found myself really going, what the hell? Scenes, mundane scenes that, should have been lit just a wee
yeah.
bit better. I'm being a nitpicky bitch, aren't I?
You're not. Creepy McGee, I love NECA, but Randy Falk has been doing me dirty for the last couple of years between kind of a bit lacking in quality control and the ever increasing prices of his figures. I like Jeddah. If you've gotten a chance, check out. My God, I can't. It's my fucking stream. Of course, I can fucking plug it. I done a really good review of their Universal Invisible Man, the Jeddah one. If you're on a budget and you don't want to fucking fork out a shitload for the NECA Universal Monsters, Jeddah does a really nice kind of smaller scale, wee bit smaller scale, and the quality isn't as good, but they're still fucking solid. Sorry.
Darling, you don't have to fork out a lot of money. When are you going to plug me?
Anyway, right, the monster decides to follow Hollingsworth and his crew into the sewer and kills the second member of the coffee cops, and also kills some other poor woman who were like, fuck it, it killed some people. But he manages to get him out because Degusta and Margot discover that they can also use the leaves to fucking lure the creature away. Unfortunately, poor Dr. Frock ends up encountering the Katoga, and
I don't mean to cut you off, Marty, but one thing I do like about it is, and we don't really see it, but like, we see the creature coming up on him and he sees it too. And weirdly, like, and it sort of makes sense. He's scared. You can definitely see he's scared, but he also has kind of a smile, like this is what his life's work was kind of leading him to. And in a way, did you take that, or am I reading way too much?
No, you're dead right. We kind of skipped over something with Dr. Frock's kind of theory was that there are special aberrations that just appear. What was the term he used? I'm after forgetting the term, but he had some term for it that, like, every generation there's a species that like evolves so quickly it dies out just as quick. And yes, this thing is going to fucking eat the shit out of him,
and
but it's
kill
like,
him.
yeah, and kill him, but it's like, yeah, I guess I was right. Kind of look on his face. No, Jen is right. It's like, yeah, my work. I might die, but at least my work wasn't in vain. My theory was sound, and that was pretty cool as well.
I just like that. I thought that's kind of it was, and again, no text of any kind, no verbal text or anything, no verbal text. You know what I mean? He didn't say anything, but his face said it all, and it's like, yeah, you can see he's scared to go into the hereafter, but it's also like, okay, this is where it's leaded me. This is this is what, and he wasn't necessarily upset about it. Like, he was at peace. I guess they had a good death.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
Also, so Degusta and Margot decide to go backtrack and try and pick up Dr. Frock. And Margot is really bad at what, like, Degusta's like, don't look. Oh my God, Jesus fuck. That's like, woman, will you stop going into fucking murder scenes? Just please. Degusta likes you.
But I mean, Marty, it's like you've told me not to do stuff, and sometimes I do it and sometimes I don't. I mean, that's just the nature of woman. Not that sounds kind of throwbacky, but it's true. Like you can attest to this.
It's for your Oscar consideration.
Yeah, like I get what he means by that. Like it was a really good scene, and it's just a facial expression, and you know what I mean? I liked it.
What? No, the scene with Frogstead.
Oh, okay. I thought I wasn't sure which one.
What, McGee? Are you talking about Frogstead, or where Margot suddenly, or the yeah? I really do like where fucking where Tom Sizeworth's like, get her the fuck out of here. Again, yeah, that is an Oscar worthy fucking performance. That's either. So Margot's like, look, okay, here's the fucking thing. Here's what we're gonna do. This thing has reptilian DNA and insect DNA. So heat will fuck with this thing.
Mhm.
So she gets a canister of liquid nitrogen, and she goes, "Oh, maybe we can kind of freeze the thing." Which again, in retrospect, doesn't really come into play because they get chased by the Katoga, and D'Augusta's like, "Get the fuck in there!" and he pushes Margot into like a secure lab, and he's got the fucking canister with the nitrogen, and
I like when she says, "This is so dumb." She's pissed because she wants to be with him and stuff, and she's pissed, and she's like, "This is so dumb."
was that before he gave her the lucky bullet
Before,
before.
yeah,
I
and that's
love
a
the
really sweet scene.
it's a sweet thing. I love the story because like Augusta's trying to explain to her, look, I know you think I'm an idiot for being superstitious, but my first week on the job, I was a rookie and I saw a guy with a coat hanger trying to get into a car. I thought he had locked himself out, so I went over to help. Turned out the guy had just robbed a liquor store. Turned around, fucking pointed a gun at me, pulled the trigger, and nothing happened. And yeah, the guys at the lab said, yeah, by all rights, this bullet should have went off. And he goes, what did you do when the gun didn't go off? Took the gun off and beat the fucking shit out of him. I like that line. I like that
That
line
sounds
as
like
well.
something you'd say.
Yeah. Fucking took the. It's like, that's a fucking dumb question. I took the fucking gun off, bait him into a fucking paste.
I bought
But yeah,
him dinner.
yeah, yeah. I got him a dress. Have you seen his rack? But yeah, so Margot kind of fucking Augusta's like gonna do the suicide thing of fucking last man standing and locks Margot back into the office. So she goes back and she's on her computer, her fucking Windows 95 in Carta encyclopedia computer. And it's like, oh my god, this thing. She had said to Augusta, this thing's Homo sapien. It started off as a human. And lo and behold, there was nothing in the crates. There was nothing in the relic. It was Whitney himself. Not only had he been tripping balls, he fucking mutated while he was on the wrong fucking ship. He mutated.
As you do, which is cool. I mean, I guess if you think about it, all this is what's going to come, but like it's kind of, if you're just going along for the ride, you might not necessarily, put it till the movie does, and I like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, again, it works, but I think it's a bit late in the day to have that reveal. It's like, again, it just confuses the fucking shit out of the audience. The audience already goes in thinking it's a fucking serial killer movie. Then they're like, oh, again, okay, I'll be average fucking cinema go, no, it's a serial killer. Oh, it's some kind of dinosaur. Must have been an egg in a ship. What? It was a guy. This movie's stupid. And, fucking, I don't know. Like, did you think it was a little late in the day to reveal, or did it have any impact that Whitney was the human being and that
It
was just.
makes sense. And like again, I'm weird with movies. When I'm having a good, you can always tell when I'm having a good time because I'm not trying to figure it out. I'm just going along with the movie. And then I kind of had the same thing you did. Where like, okay, this is a little late in the game, but then I also am thinking, no, this is a pretty good conclusion to how things were. If I'd been thinking more ahead and trying to run and keep up with the movie, I might have gone, okay, we should have revealed this sooner. But I was having a good time, so I'm like, okay, that's just me though with movies.
I would have galvanized it, because Margot, kind of, you got a bit of animosity with Margot towards Whitney because
Mm-hmm.
he's anthropology and study mythology and stuff. But I would have had it that, like, fucking Whitney was maybe a pervert and he'd kind of hit on her, because that he kind of like he kind of like fucking kind of maybe grabbed her ass or was real sleazy towards her when he was working there.
Well, she
And
has so much animosity toward him. We don't, but you get the feeling like she does whenever she's talking about him before she
but it's
finds
it's
out.
it's it's never it's never said, oh, fucking Whitney
No,
was a fucking pervert or something.
but it's
I
sort of
thi-
subtext. I kind of got that feeling like no woman gets angry at a guy like that for no reason. And I just took it as subtext, like, okay, maybe they got a history. And I like that the movie actually doesn't say that.
but later on, the Katoga fucking decides, fuck it, I'm not gonna kill fucking Augusta. I'm gonna go after Margot,
Mm-hmm.
and goes through the fucking skylight and charges through the office. And Margot's like, fuck it, I gotta kill this thing, and I don't have my secret can of fucking nitrogen that the Augusta has. I have to burn the cunt. And she starts moving and like knocking down jars of flammable chemical
Which
and
is so
get
smart.
that was cool. And she had a jar of phosphorus powder.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like, I think the whole thing of the if it had been established that John Whitney was a bit of a fucking sleazeball, it would have played in, because there's a moment, because this thing is animalistic and it seems to just kill on fucking sight,
Mm-hmm.
but it goes up to her, and it does, because Alien 3 made it a trend. Every movie where a heroine has to face off against something, like fucking, they done it in Alien 3, where the aliens right up against Ripley. They done it in Lost World Jurassic Park. Julianne Moore, one of the T-Rexes, is licking her to get the blood off. Alien Resurrection, the newborn licks her. I think Anaconda, the snake, kind of like,
Yeah,
yeah,
there's a
it's so Whitney's tongue comes out and starts licking her fucking tits. And I was like, okay, so it's not killing her straight off. Is there some part of Whitney that's still in there? And he's like, hey, I remember this bitch. I don't fucking lick her tits before I eat her fucking head, kind of thing. Did you get that vibe,
Yeah,
or
I did. It's a very sexual kind of vibe, the way, especially, and it's not like a lick like a dog, it's more of
mm,
a
yeah,
very
no.
slow kind of
Did
lick,
did you get the
very
did you think
almost
that was
erotic.
yeah, did you think that was the last kind of remnant of Whitney that was like,
Again, see, in my head canon, I kind of thought that maybe there was something like not between them, but maybe that he had interest in her and was kind of a dick about it. I
again,
just got that
again,
feeling.
they could have established that. That was an avenue they could have done, but you think it kind of worked that they didn't. They didn't
Yeah, because
advertise
I
it.
kind of got that feeling without them telling me. I don't want to sound like it. Maybe it's just me being a woman, but she was so angry every time she talked about him earlier in the movie before we established all that. I'm like,
But Jen,
he,
it was because he was an anthropologist.
yeah,
He
I get
wasn't a
that, but
real scientist.
it couldn't have just been that. Like for me, it couldn't have been just that. Like there's something else. There's something a little more personal going on here. That was just my headcanon. So it actually made sense, and I'm like, okay, there's a sexual thing going on,
But before he can either make love or fucking decapitate her,
or a little bit
yeah,
of both.
yeah. Fuck, I'm glad you didn't direct this movie. Uh, basically, there's a kind of dumbwaiter elevator behind her.
Hmm.
She activates that, throws the fucking jar of phosphorus onto the chemicals, and climbs into it. And the fucking whole place goes up like a fucking Christmas tree left next to your smoking grandfather. It's
Wee.
honest. The lab goes up and the Katoga goes up, and that for me is where the CG, through no fault of the filmmakers, fire is a very, elements such as fire and water are very, very hard to replicate nowadays. So thinking back to 1997, they must have been an absolute fucking pain in the ass to do. They weren't, Jen's right, they weren't terrible, but they weren't. I've seen it done better in movies back then.
Yeah, but I've also seen newer movies from like current times do it a little worse. So I'm kind of it's kind of in the middle. But one thing I do have to say is, bar that scene, this movie does show you how you can, especially if you mix in practicals, you can kind of coexist with CG and practicals and do it right and get a really, for the most part, gorgeous looking film. I will agree with you. The fire does look a little bit janky, but it's not egregious and it doesn't take me out of the movie. So I give it a pass, but I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, again, we had so, the thing was, we had so good visual effects up until the
Up until
point.
that point, yeah.
Yeah, that was
It
like,
does take
oh,
it
score
down a notch.
thumb.
I'll agree with you.
Yeah,
It does take it down a lot, but it's not idiot. We've seen way worse.
yeah, and Margot fucking bails out anyway. And the Katoga creature follows her as all the chemicals are. Yeah, I have it. I have that one. Oh, I gotta go back and check that.
Oh, neat.
No, I gotta go check that. Thanks, Slipknot. Margot fucking books out of there and she climbs into the tank that they used to boil the flesh of
Flesh of
fossils, and she covers herself. The lid of it covers, and the Katoga gets fucking blown to pieces. Again, eh, the explosion was kind of but it's a creature feature from the
90s.
90s. Yeah, I can't be too fucking bitchy about it. Happy ending. Uh Fucking Degusta, like, goes in, helps her out of the tank, and the chief of police is like, oh, I'm gonna fire Degusta for this mess. And the mayor's like, hey, if you say anything about fucking Detective Degusta, you're gonna be driving a squad car around the street. Okay. So it's like, it's the ending is abrupt, but they don't do anything cheesy. Like, I was in my head, because I thought there was a line in the movie where it's like panning back to the museum, and you get a voiceover of the Augusta going to Margot, "Hey, do you like dogs?" I was expecting something like that. It's like,
No, this is one thing about this movie. It tones it down, but you still, but when he opens up, because he's like, "Where's Doctor?" and they're like, "We can't find her yet," and then they open up the tank and she's there, and he gets this really big smile on their face. This movie knows how to say things without necessarily words, and I really like that. And a lot of movies don't know how to do that. And it's funny, a creature feature from 1997 knows how to utilize that way better than some higher end movies do.
I no, honestly, I had thought, like, and again, thinking about it, it would be stupid if the Gusto was like, "Hey, Margot, do you like dogs?" And then cut to credits, "I'm away, I'm away." Just send me on my way. Sorry, sorry, but
Margot, let the dogs out.
yes, Scott, you're dead right. You're dead right. In a black dress, and she took off her fucking high heels, which Claire Danes didn't do in the first Jurassic World movie. Cause fucking Penelope Ann Miller knows you need to fucking take off high heels to run away from a big monster that wants to eat you.
Yeah, but you look cuter in the. I get both points, but you look cuter in the heels. You want to look cute.
Will you look as cute when it's shitting you out along with the heels?
Well, I mean, it's just a girl thing. You wouldn't understand. It's a girl thing.
Thank God it's not going to eat my feet first. I paid so much for these Chanels.
I wouldn't pay for Chanel's, but Bilotics are another story.
But yeah, I would I'm glad they didn't do the whole Degusto going, "Hey, come back to my place. One Tindo, do you like dogs? Why'd you ask?" And then cut the arm away, send me on my way. Send me on my way. I just fucking
I
I
get what
Why am I
it does
thinking
show
Ice
restraint.
Age? Oh yeah, because this movie's set in a museum. That's sorry, that movie's that song's an Ice Age, and I just popped into my
And
head.
like, the saber-toothed tiger, maybe that's another thing that put it in your head because it is
Mm,
kind of a thing to it, the
yeah.
saber-tooth.
Great movie. More people need to check it out. I done a poll on Twitter, and the movie didn't win out in the poll, not because it was a bad movie, but because so many people haven't seen this movie, and you
Mhm.
really got to check it out because it
You
kicked off.
really do. You really do. Try to get it on Laserdisc if you
Yeah,
can, because that is actually shot like how you'd see it in the, theaters, and that is my one and only and I know I've brought this up a lot, but I gotta be honest with you people, that is my only criticism. I do wish this was lighted like how they saw it in the theater, because it does take you out of the movie, and this movie is gorgeous. The scenes that we do have is so gorgeous, and it's such a shame. Marty was saying he hopes that this gets a treatment where they can clean it up a bit.
yeah, I'd love to see it released in 4K or something, where they clean it up and brighten it up because it's a gorgeous looking movie, not just for the visual effects, but the set
Mhm.
design alone. Whoever done the fucking set designs for this movie, fucking A1.
It's shot in Chicago, and it has that feel too, which I
Mm.
love the city of Chicago, so it's just really neat.
Um, would you recommend this to people?
Yes, I would. I would. Just know that the one thing that you might have some issues because I did about the lighting, but other than that, it is a fun movie. It's funny, and it's one of those movies that's way better than it has any business
Yeah,
being. You know what I mean? It's one of
yeah.
those movies that just it
It, it
surprises you.
it's a lot more clever than it should be.
Yeah, and I
And
think it's better than some of the creature features that were out in its time.
again, like I love the Lost World Jurassic Park.
Which one do you prefer, Marty? If you had to pick, it's like Sophie's Choice.
Fuck you. Okay, not joking. Um, Not joking. I would say, depending on the day, I would go with the Relic, and depending on the other day, I might go with the Lost World Jurassic Park. Definitely
What
better than
about
any.
today, Marty? What about today?
Today, I'm gonna say the Relic,
I figured.
and then tomorrow I'm gonna watch the Lost World Jurassic Park. Um, but yeah, no, definitely better than Anaconda, and I think this is better than the Mimic. But the Mimic isn't a bad movie because Del Toro never makes bad movie. Mimic's a bad movie because Miramax and Harvey, I'm a fucking pervert, dipshit, piece of shit, Weinstein butchered that flick. So
And
that's kind of
Anaconda's fun. Like I don't hate. I think Anaconda's a really fun movie. You just kind of got to take it with a grain of salt. It doesn't take itself seriously, so why should the audience?
another reason. Another reason. And this was Triv. This is Triv. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Anaconda, Martin. I'm like, she's like, because the Relic doesn't have a badass song for Sir Mix-a-Lot. It's like, my Relic ain't got, my Relic ain't got no buns unless you go to a museum, hon.
Guys, check out Trivia Theater. She's a riot.
She's the fucking best.
Yeah, we
But
love her.
yeah, no, my Relic ain't got, no, it just doesn't fucking work. She's right. So yeah, if you haven't seen the Relic, go check it out. The Katoga monster is like the most underrated creature. NECA, make one, even though you're expensive bastards. I'd probably buy it. Jeddah, do make one because I'll definitely fucking buy it because he won't rob me blind. Or fuck it, McFarlane, if you're not making Batman, make a fucking. Oh, who am I kidding? You're just gonna Batman Katoga. Batman! Why do they keep on making so many fucking Batman?
You like Batman.
I like Batman. I like other heroes as well. McFarlane. And hey kids, don't worry. You can make a part of the movie Maniacs line, although it'll be a statue. The fucking movie Maniacs line, guys. Has anyone seen the movie Maniacs line? Has anyone seen? Why you couldn't ask for a more diverse, fantastic line of movie? Following up from Friday the 13th, Alien versus Predator, fucking Halloween, Psycho, Escape from LA. We have Ted Lasso. We have fucking Jesus Christ.
You have Looney Tunes, Marty. You have Looney Tunes.
We've got we've got fucking Looney Tunes. We got Gandalf. We got Harry Potter. We got
Wait, we
Ray.
got City of Angels? Didn't you say we got Nicolas Cage from City of Angels?
They're doing double
Everyone loves
duty with
that
the Nick
movie.
Cage. God damn it. It was great, Slipknot fan. It was fucking great, okay? I told Jen this story, right? Because everyone was like excited. Movie Maniacs is coming back. Yeah, hold on 1 second. Jen, talk with her for 1 second.
Okay, so like, yeah, you've hit a sore spot with Marty because like everybody was excited about Movie Maniacs coming back, and like Marty was for a split second, and then he's like, "Wait a minute, lads, wait a minute," and he's like trying to warn everybody they don't have the rights to the same stuff as NECA has all the rights. Yeah, exactly, Creepy Midgree. We've done it now.
I don't know if you can see her there. Probably
That's
not.
awesome.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, no, Movie
Marty,
Maniacs.
why didn't you take it out of the box?
Because I'm a weirdo. When
I
you
wonder if
come
you're going to
over
put me in
here,
a box.
I
I hope you're going to come in my box.
No, I got a bunch of them there. Actually, so what, guys? I am probably going to do between now and Christmas, because horror retrospective and horror Sasha, Lady Sasha from Who Would Watch That, says I should do a figure kind of not a figure, a room tour or a fucking collection video or some fucking thing. I don't know. I'll do that and I'll show that off. But yeah, no.
You see any little cameras, just ignore them, Marty. They're not anything.
Okay. But yeah, no, fucking. Did you tell him the story about Movie Maniacs?
I did. You were like, wait a minute, lads, wait a minute. Everybody was really excited, including you, for half a second, and then you thought about it, and you're like, no, wait a minute.
NECA has the rights to all the cool shit.
We got Looney Tunes.
Good for you. I got a bunch of them. I'll show you in a separate video because it's getting late and I need to eat something. But yeah, guys, if you get a chance, please check out the Relic.
Yeah,
it's an awesome movie.
It's a fun movie, and I hope one day we get it the way it's supposed to be seen.
Yeah, because Jen's fucking, as the years go by, your eyesight's just gonna keep on deteriorating. Like, it's not like between her eyesight, her hip, and her varicose veins, she's ain't looking good. She's ain't looking good. It could be worse, babe. I could be going down on you, and I'd have to blow into your vagina like an NES cartridge. Make sure to get the dust out of there.
You don't know that you won't have to do that, darling. You don't know. The joke's on you. What is the Trash Picture Show going to be up to lately before we skedaddle?
Well, hopefully not having to look for a new relationship after that statement.
You're not getting out of this that easily. I've told you this so many times, Marty.
Next Saturday, I'm going to be joined by a couple of, speaking of figures, some figure collectors, Connor Fuller, Brian, 2 Day Rentals, and Richard, aka Ard, the figure photographer. And we're going to be talking about all the pros, cons, and pitfalls of being an action figure collector.
Till death do us part. Hey, how come you ain't got me on? I know about them little plastic people. I could give you my insights on things.
Nah, you're a girl. You're a girl.
Dumb girl.
You get menstrual blood all over them, and they'll depreciate
I can bring
in value.
my Barbies. I can bring my Barbies.
They'll depreciate in value. You'll get all your like juices on them and shit. But yeah, what about you, cute stuff?
Actually, it's going to be a busy week on the channel. Christian is editing right now a Creep Show review, our latest Creep Show review, where we've got some interesting takes. Like I don't hold back in that one, guys. I'm not being a dick, but I don't hold back on my thoughts. Also this week, and I'm really proud of this video, and Christian's editing this one as well, we're starting a retrospective that I keep hinting about, but the first video has been filmed. It was a really great discussion. I'm not going to tell you what we're retrospecting yet, but it's a very famous horror movie that got that a lot of mainstream people know about and got certain awards, and that might be a big tip off right there. And also, we speaking of dogs, there is a movie floating around that I am super excited. Christian and I have not filmed it yet or seen the movie yet, but there's a German movie about two people who fall in love. She goes back to his place, and the guy she falls in love with has another dude in a dog suit, and she has to treat the guy in a dog suit as a dog. And it goes for, I hear it's fucking crazy. It's German. It's an art house German horror movie.
It is. That's not crazy for German people. That's just a fucking Thursday. Also, Jen, I'm probably, because I'm sequestered doing fucking real life fucking shit, but aren't the horror
yes,
I'm
convenient? Glad you reminded me, darling. And on Tuesday, be sure to check out the wonderful Horror Corner, Sean Patrick Erskind's channel, because he is going to be having horror hangouts where myself, Monty G, Christian, and the wonderful and beautiful Trivia Theater are all, and with our special guest, David Diggs, and we's going to be talking about movie soundtracks and themes, horror movie soundtracks and themes, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and we have a guest that's super knowledgeable, so definitely. And also check out David Dix, guys. Dick. I did not mean to say Dix. I meant to say Dick.
He's got penises on the brain. He's got penises on the brain.
Diggs, D-I-G-S, David Diggs. He does a wonderful, he's probably, don't ever promote me again, Jen, but he does a wonderful musical content related to horror.
Has he wonderful penis?
Hopefully David will never see this promotion. We might have David on by horror. I might be getting a phone call from Sean. You fucked it up, Jen. We don't have a goddamn guest now.
Hey, hey, I'm taking it very well considering you're fucking daydreaming about his penis now, okay?
I'm not daydreaming. It's you. I always get
you said David Dix. If ever there was a Freudian slip in the fucking cosmos, it was that.
It was your penis. It came out through.
It came out of David's. It came out of David. I'm glad it's not going into David.
Again, where I'm probably this stream might not even happen because I guarantee I'm gonna get a call from Sean whenever David sees this. And we lost a guest because of you, Jen. The horror corner is ruined.
I'm just amazed Sean isn't fucking pissed. I just compared my girlfriend's vagina to an NES cartridge.
Oh, I don't care about that, buddy. I'm used to that.
So much dust.
Enough fiber, babe. Enough fiber.
So yeah, with that,
I think that's more than enough.
Yeah, we're gonna end it here. But big thanks to everyone who stopped by. Big thanks to Scott, Creepy McGee, Slipknot fan. Had we anyone else?
We did. We had a couple people.
JJ, MPB, and some other people who were watching.
DMC.
Oh, DMC. Big thanks to DMC. But yeah, it was fun. This was a fun movie. Watching it with a fun girl. And hey, Richard. This is a chap who's going to be joining me next Saturday for our figure discussion. Also check out his channel. Give me 1 second, guys, because I want to do some plugging. Jen, don't say it. Don't say it.
Oh yeah, you'll plug some figure guy, but you won't plug your own girlfriend.
I plug you all the time. There's just too much. There's too much stuff to be doing.
Thank you, Creepy McGee. That means a lot. I'm glad you enjoy them. It'd be better though if Martin did tell him though. Creepy, tell Marty that it'd be a much better stream if he would plug me during the stream.
Yeah, no, Richard's channel essentially is Predpool. So yeah, check that out. He's on He's on YouTube. His link is at Predpool2425. Check that out if you guys. I know there's a couple other figure collectors there in the chat. Make sure you check out Richard's channel. Absolute gent, does really good, concise figure reviews. And with that, I'm going to end it here before Jen breaks up with me. Like, fucking talking about fucking NES cartridge pussy fucking figures.
Don't worry, just bring a tall glass on the nightstand to bed with you. You'll be fine. A tall glass of water.
What? What? What?
I don't
Never
know.
mind. With that, we're going to end it here. So, yeah.
I don't even know what that meant.
What?
Mike.
You fucking said it. Right. With that, let's make like a leaf and get the fuck out of here.
Whee!
Bye.
Penis!
Long butter.
Fuck you.
Bye.